Hi everybody, this is the third case making video, and this is an awkward angle. I apologize for that, but I couldn't figure out a better way to do it. So bear with me, and we'll get this done pretty expeditiously, except that Mort wants to visit. One thing I didn't say yesterday, this is turning into a kind of a comedy of errors here. Once you get your case covered, the ideal solution is to go ahead and case it in pretty soon, because the material is going to start to pull as it dries. If you can't do that, either lay it flat between pressing boards and keep a light weight on it, or what my teacher Fritz used to suggest, or actually it was his kind of process, would be to wrap it around the book, put it under weight overnight, and that way the case and the book, he said, they kind of learn to live together, get acquainted, as it were. So I didn't say that yesterday, but I do want to put that out there today, is that either do it immediately or keep it under restraint until you can, because you can get some significant warpage, and then it's just a real pain in the butt. So this is the case we covered yesterday. Come on, move. Thank you. First step before covering, I made fresh paste, which is always a good thing. Fresh paste for a job like this is just really a really pleasant thing. You need to trim the foredge of the paste downs, because of course it expands, and if your foredge margins aren't, huge, which they shouldn't be, it's going to be real obvious. So what I normally do is literally trim a hair, and again, it depends on what kind of paper you're using too. If your paper, especially if it's machine made, it's going to grow like nobody's business. You're going to have to take a little extra off. Generally with the mold maids, or the mold maids that I use, it is literally like a 1/2 millimeter. Okay, I'm going to do that on both sides. I don't know if anybody was sharp enough eyed to notice yesterday afternoon, but there was a small bit of something on the foredge when I finished covering the case that there shouldn't be. I was able to get it off because especially with hot glue, your chances of getting hot glue off a cover are much better than with PVA. And what I do sounds a little grotesque, but it works, is I mentioned saliva earlier in this set of 3 videos. Take a piece of the same cloth, damp it with saliva, and press it down, kind of blot it off essentially. And that way you're not going to change the color of the cloth, because you're using the same stuff. If it comes off, both of them, you're good. Anyway, hopefully you won't have to do that, but I know you will. All right, so both my foredges are trimmed. I have my waste sheets. Hopefully they're large enough. They are not. You can always do this. Okay. Large brush. that bristle. Check it. The other reason to wear an apron when you're working with adhesives is partly to keep your clothes clean and partly to give you a handy place to wipe stuff off, like your hands and your tools. Okay, so there's the first one. Now, the next thing you have to keep in mind is you need to let the paper expand completely. Just on the goomer. Actually, okay. And the way you tell is this is another reason to use paste. You got plenty of time. You let it sit and you can feel it. It's going to go limp, okay? At first, especially if you're working in low humidity, it's going to move away from the side that's been pasted, but it will relax, and at that point, it will be as expanded as it's going to get. So now you have hopefully lined up your book head to tail and foredge to spine in the case. And you're going to take your folder and you're going to kind of pull it out a little bit to make sure you don't have any wrinkles, that it's, you know, nice and snug across there. And you'll keep finding places where the paste has dried out, corners especially. All right, so there's that. Last step, so just take one of your dirty fingers and wipe around the outside of the paste down, because when you press it, you're going to get some paste ooze out, and you want to minimize the amount that's going to grab the facing fly leaf. All right, so this is ready to go. All right, I'm going to pull it ahead. I'm going to hold it down with my folder, close the board on it, got my thumb here to kind of hold it up. Then I'm going to check to make sure that the corners align, and then pull the folder out. Flip it over and repeat. And I need a bigger sheet because I did a foolish thing. So sorry about that. Okay. This is another one of those do as I say, not as I do moments. That's much better. Okay, paste. Now this hinge strip, the other hinge strip, it kind of stuck itself down, so I didn't want to mess with it. This one I'm gonna paste beneath it. And just give it a light. And actually, I'm going to do this now instead of later. Pull this up. Wait for it to expand. See how stiff it is? It's not ready yet. See, it's kind of arcing up. There we go. Okay, I think we're good to go. Pull it, check it, close it. All right, now here's where what I do differs from some of my other colleagues. At this point, it's going to go into the press for 3 minutes. Hold on. Pull. Okay, it's going in that press there. All right, this guy's got a lot of daylight, so I have to put a couple of boards on top. Excuse me, thank you. All right. And the reason that I do it this way is even if you put a press it, you know, if you put barriers in and leave it overnight, you're still going to have a lot of residual moisture in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my timer. 3 minutes in the press, then it comes out, stands open. You just want to open the boards a little bit, don't spread it all the way out, but open the boards a little bit, let it stand open for a half an hour to so that the moisture can evaporate. Okay, after half an hour, put cardstock in or some sort of a barrier sheet and close it. Put it between pressing boards under a lightweight over 24 hours at least, and that'll give the boards a chance to kind of season and acclimate themselves to the way you want them to be, for lack of that's an awkward phrase, but there you go. You ready? Yes. Okay. That's the process. So, in fact, if you can, you know, after you take it out of the press, put your barrier sheets in, put it between pressing boards, put it under a lightweight. If you want to, you know, 24 hours is kind of, everything's going to be good. But if you just want to, you know, forget about it for a couple of days, that's even better. Because then it'll kind of season and get used to being flat. As it stands open, you might see it start to warp. Don't panic. That's normal. Because the paper on the inside is still expanded and hasn't had a chance to dry and to try and retreat to its original size, which is where you get the tension between the outer and the inner coverings, and that's how it makes things even makes the board even stiffer. So, actually, while I'm doing that, I will do one other thing. And that's opening a book for the first time after it's been bound. So we're going to pretend that this one has just been, you know, has just come out of the out of the lightweight. It's stood for at least 24 hours. What you do, or what I do, come back. Okay. The first time I open it with a case bind, this is inboards, leather, it's different. It's different. You still need to open it, but not the same way. If you got a book with a joint, you come back and you run the folder along the joint like that. And then as you open it, you kind of press it forward and bring it down. Okay? And that'll kind of set it for the way it wants to open in the future. Ditto here. See, I'm putting pressure on it there, so I'm pressing down and then forward. And that's the last step in, you know, the whole process. So we still have 3 minutes and 20 seconds. We're good. So now I can take this out. I like to stand on a pressing board and one more thing. If it sticks, it probably will. You can at this point give it a flex, and that will hopefully break loose the flyleaf from the paste down. If it doesn't, you can give it a little help, or if you want, you can wait until it's dry and then run a folder underneath it, pry it apart. You can already see how it's reacting. This is because the inside is wet and the outside ain't. All right, so this stands, like I say, open, about like yay. If you have, what I like to do, if I have them available, is I'll just take a couple of weights and sandwich the text block between them. Okay? All right. I hope, you know, this all made sense. Obviously, if it didn't, again, that's what the comments are for. So this is, you know, this is the way that I do mine, and I've been very happy with it for a very long period of time. I've done additions this way, which I think I said in the first video. So thank you again for, there we go. Thanks again for coming here. Thanks very much for, you know, coming back. I assume some of you come back. And thanks very, very much for anybody who has subscribed. I'm very grateful for everybody who's, you know, dropped in, and hopefully, you know, these things continue to be of use. I'm going to keep doing them until people tell me to stop. So, you know, there it is. Anyway, I hope everybody is staying safe and smoke-free, and I will be back at some point soon. Take care. Thanks.